Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for episode 22 of the Horns Up podcast, your weekly catch up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from Brooklyn. With me, coming from underneath a random Slipknot mask from one of the new band members, my good friend Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going under there?
There's two of me, because there's two of the mask. This is dumb.
Clones!
This is dumb. The whole stupid mask thing is still a topic of discussion in the world, and that's just upsetting. And I don't mean just here. I just mean in general, it's still in places.
Well, it's like Kiss after they took off their makeup.
Yeah.
It's like everyone knows what all these guys look like. Why are you still carrying on with the masks? Like, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We're not in the 90s.
No.
There are bands with better gimmicks now. I mean, come on.
Much better. Look at Guar. But, whatever.
Spoiler alert, we will look at Guar a little bit later this episode.
Look at and talk about two things.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, real world shit, real talk. What's going on? It's been a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. It's been 2 weeks for stupid reasons. Nothing crazy. I would
technical difficulties.
Right, yeah, seriously, and whatever. This should be much cleaner this time around. But no, nothing crazy. It looks like Boston for me. For those unaware, I do trek down to Boston every Thursday. It's a solid, 14-hour day for me at work, including travel, of course, and that's really a hindrance to my enthusiasm for this recording. Every night preceding that trip, that's going to become way less frequent now. I'll be either going down every other Thursday or not at all. So anticipate a lot. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not a bad thing. I'm not going to talk about where I work because that's fucking stupid. But mostly just due to some reorganization of the people above me that would no longer be in Boston. And the reason I went to Boston was to see these said people. They will no longer be there. They'll be in Portsmouth instead. So that saves me a lot of hassle. So that's pretty much it, though. Usual routine, yelling at sports. Nice. Same shit, different day.
I was looking at it. I think this is the first episode in which we have our talking points planned out here. I think this is the first episode in which at least one of my horns up and horns down are not anything to do with sports. So. Fans, you're going to get a real treat this week. I'm going to abstain from talking about sports.
Going to talk about real stuff, maybe.
Yeah,
I might still give you sports. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll get there. Anyway, moving into some headlines. Let's start us off with news from Cannibal Corpse and a bit of an issue they are having with folks in the Russian Orthodox Church. Now, Cannibal Corpse had scheduled 8 dates in Russia early next month, early October, to support their new album, A Skeletal Domain. And now an activist group from within the Russian Orthodox Church is trying to ban them from entering the country. A guy named Dmitry Soryanov, leader of a activist movement called God's Will, what else would it be called, is leading the charge. And this is a guy who has been pulling out all the usual stops in Christian brainwash. He's anti-science. He's anti-abortion. He's tried to spread his views to Russian teenagers and corrupt them early on. And he was quoted as saying, "It is absolutely outrageous, an abomination. They need a place in a mental hospital. People with such thoughts should simply be isolated from society."
No.
Assuming he's referring,
people
in fact,
like this
to
guy,
their lyrical contact.
Yeah. I mean, people like this guy need to be isolated from society.
Correct.
Because you're the one trying to force feed your views down other people's throats. Cannibal Corpse is just expressing themselves through art. I don't really give a shit what that expression is. I don't care what the subject matter is. I don't care how they choose to do it. That's what they're doing. This guy should die in a car fire. A little aggressive, yeah, maybe.
Well, it's Russia. They use the terms freedom of speech and freedom of religion even more loosely than we do here in the States.
No freaking kidding. God. This is the one time I'll actually feel bad for Cannibal Corpse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It looks like the movement is picking up steam. It's hard to say. It's headquartered in, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Krasnodar, which is where the tour is supposed to kick off on October 2nd. I'm not sure if this is going to extend to put all the other dates in jeopardy, if this is just going to be limited to that first show, how much momentum is behind this guy. We'll have to see. But yeah, Cannibal Corpse has some shit going on with Russia right now. So
well, I think Russia,
fingers crossed for him.
Russia has some shit going on in the entire world, especially in the heavier music persuasion. Let's face it, Behemoth couldn't get in earlier in the year. I mean, that was for probably more legitimate reasons and not just due to extremists, but still, Russia's getting shafted out of some cool stuff because they're dumb.
They do have Masha Scream, though.
They will always have Masha Scream. They should get rid of her and give her to, like, America. We'd appreciate her more.
Yeah, America's behind on Europe. We should we should draft her. We should do like the Chappelle Show racial draft of heavy metal.
Oh, America should totally have. You know, we could break it up by region. You know, like West Coast, New England, or Northeast, or whatever. Midwest. Break it up into 8 areas and just say, let's have a metal fantasy draft. Northeast, you get first pick. Who do you want? Behemoth. Poor choice. They could have been at least a second rounder. Why not? That'd be a blast.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We should do that sometime. Actually,
that could be a good time.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Cannibal Corpse not having the easiest of times with Russia right now. What else is new with Russia? But yeah, we will definitely keep posted on that, and as any more info on that comes out, we will let you know. Next up, we have news from Gwar, who have announced is now a week or so old by now, but Gwar have announced some new band members. You are all aware, I'm sure, that the band is going to be continuing on following the passing of Dave Brockie, Odorous Orungus, this past winter. And the band debuted 2 new members at Chicago's Riot Fest a couple weeks ago. One was a male vocalist named Blothar the Berserker, played by Michael Bishop, originator of the Beefcake the Mighty, the character way back when. But the other, more notably, was a female what appeared to be vocalist named VULVATRON, who's going to be played by visual artist Kim Dilla. Really hilarious costume for VULVATRON. She basically looks like a female engineer from Prometheus, only with giant prosthetic boobs that shoot out fake blood. Yeah, because, Gwar. Now, it was initially pretty widely reported that she was going to be the new co-vocalist of the band, but it seems like Gwar is kind of backing off that. They put out an official statement last week announcing that VULVATRON's role would be simply, quote, more mysterious. No further details, just more mysterious. So whether... There we are. Whether she's going to be co-vocalist or just more mysterious, Gwar's got someone called VULVATRON in the band. I'm excited about this.
I am too. I'm also more excited about the fact that they're on tour, and that might, mean I see them soon. I don't know. I'm not sure if you got...
That might need to happen.
Yeah, seriously. I'm not sure if you got a chance to read this, but they actually... there was actually an interview shared with VULVATRON on Metal Injection today. Did you get a chance to check this out?
I did not. What?
She fits right into the band for sure. It's obviously just her in Gwar talk. First question, I assume you're a female. Is that correct? Indeed, I commend your astute observation. They asked her a question. Does sexism exist in Gwar? And she says, yes, Gwar is an extremely sexist band. We believe in having all the sex all the time.
She's gonna fit right in.
She absolutely is.
This is gonna be wonderful. I'm calling this now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I'll let you read the whole thing, and for everybody else out there, I did not share on the quickie, so go find it because I don't care about you that much. It was a pretty good read. It was short. It was, they only asked like 7 or 8 questions, and it was enlightening to say the least. So I have high hopes. This could be a very good thing.
Moving on, we have news today from AC/DC, who announced their 17th studio album, Rock or Bust, will be coming out on December 1st. It's going to be produced by Brendan O'Brien, and for the first time will be featuring Malcolm Young's nephew, Stevie, as a studio member of the band after his uncle was forced to retire due to health issues. Right. Excited for this one.
Yeah, why not? I don't know. I mean, it's sad, the whole Malcolm Young thing. But man, December 1st. I mean, I know they recorded this thing in like no time flat. So December 1st is right around the corner. I mean, the hell, why not? I mean, there's the 17th album, which is a little aggressive. That's impressive, man. 17 albums. Jesus.
Yep. 41 years.
Insane. Well, I guess
41 years.
It's less than a number every 2 years, so I guess that's about right. But still, that's a long friggin' time. This is cool. This is a good thing. I'm kind of excited to check this out. I said this is a band I haven't really revisited lately. This will give me a reason to.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's worth noting, we mentioned Stevie Young, Malcolm and Angus's nephew, joining the band. Stevie previously joined in the 80s when Malcolm was in rehab. He joined as a live member, I believe on the Blow Up Your Video tour. He's Malcolm's nephew, yet is only 3 years younger, which...
Family, you're doing it wrong.
Hello, really late and or really early parenting, right. I guess. So yeah, there's that. The band is going to be using the song Play Ball as promo cut music for the MLB playoffs starting this weekend. So we'll get a little bit of a taste of Rock or Bust early on. And we have news of a world tour, which I suppose is going to start next year. Details are still kind of in flux, but new stuff from AC/DC, new album, new tour. We'll see how the album goes. I will definitely try and catch them on the road again. I caught them on the Black Ice tour, and it was a tremendous show, even at their age. So, exciting stuff. Wrapping up the headline segment for the week, let's move into, we have some more new stuff, some new singles to discuss from bands that you'll want to pay attention to over the next couple of months. First off, we have At the Gates, who released the title track from their upcoming reunion album, At War with Reality. This is the first new material from the band in 19 years. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, I did. Eventually. I know I bombarded the world with enthusiasm when I saw it was released, but I hadn't actually listened to it for about 3 days after that point. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was really anything to write home about. I felt it lacked a certain aggression and a level of complexity that I really appreciate off of, like Slaughter of the Soul, for example. I mean, it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. I mean, it sounds like At the Gates-ish, whatever that means, after really just 2 albums. It was fine, whatever. I don't know, a little anticlimactic for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it didn't do much for me. I won't mince words here. It's what I would expect from them, which is fine, but if all they're going to give us after 19 years is what I'd expect, why bother? Why put out new music? Why mess with the legacy? I don't get it.
And I hate to bring this comparison because they're 2 different bands, and it's just kind of tough to cross lines like that. But I look at mostly like, okay, to rephrase, it's hard to compare to something like, say, for example, the Carcass release after their time off. That was awesome. I mean, Surgical Steel was amazing. And I was kind of hoping, which may not have been fair, but I was like, oh, the most recent, death metal band, or they took some time off and they pumped out godliness. That means At the Gates must too, right? Nope. Obviously getting ahead of myself a little bit. We'll see what the actual album sounds like, but whatever. It's fine.
I mean, hey, with any luck, this will just be the weakest track, and the rest of the album will kick ass.
Exactly.
We'll see. Again, that's coming out the end of October, so you can bet we'll be talking about it. But not the best of first impressions, to say the least. But moving on, we have a new one from Exodus. Released a lyric video for the title track from their upcoming album, Blood In, Blood Out. What'd you think of this one?
I honestly didn't catch this one. I was actually busy listening to a different song that I'll talk about briefly once we get through Exodus. No offense. I mean, Exodus, I saw it and I was like, gonna listen to it, and then this other band showed up. It's Scar Symmetry, by the way. And I was like, this one instead. So I'll let you take the reins on this one.
That's good, because I didn't get to listen to Scar Symmetry yet.
Perfect.
So yeah, I will take for Exodus, and then I'll hand them off to you.
Wonderful.
Anyway, Exodus, Blood In, Blood Out, title track. As everyone knows, Steve Souza is back on vocals, and as much as I liked Rob Dukes, there's just something about Zetro, about his nasally shriek, that just belongs in Exodus. It sounds so good. And I like this. This thing's an ass kicker. It's really catchy. It's just short and simple and to the point. With Rob Dukes, I know, really even going back to Shovelheaded Kill Machine when he first joined the band, they had sort of made a habit of doing plotting epic stuff that just... I didn't really care for it. It didn't really feel right for Exodus to me. This is just back to basics, just straight up ass kicking thrash, and it was a nice change. I really enjoyed it, and certainly like it more than the shit Gary Holt is doing in Slayer. So yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, but yeah, Blood In, Blood Out. Nice entry, nice jumping off point for that new album, in my opinion. But now, Scar Symmetry. Talk to me. What's the story?
All right. So Scar Symmetry, for those unaware, they're having basically a 3-piece album release coming out in the next few years. It's called The Singularity. There's going to be 3 phases to it. Phase 1, Neo-Humanity. By the way, Scar Symmetry is going to Scar Symmetry pretty much forever. Anyway, Phase 1, Neo-Humanity. Yep, that's what they called it. Comes out October 6th, which is like tomorrow almost. Well, a couple weeks, whatever.
Is it that soon?
Yeah, it is actually. Weird, right? They haven't talked about it at all, which is, I guess, fine. And I'll pick it up because Scar Symmetry always will have a soft spot in my heart for God knows what reason. Oh, I remember why. Songs like this. The song is called Cryonic Harvest. It was actually released today being Wednesday, September 24th. It was in our quickies. And, I mean, I don't want to say we kind of know what to expect from these guys, but you know what to expect from these guys. Crazy catchy. Impressive musicianship as always. Technically everything. I
really loved Limits to Infinity.
Yeah.
I didn't hear this new one yet, but if it's half as catchy as Limits to Infinity, I'm still gonna cream myself. So.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's fast paced, it's tempoed, and then of course it gets that same ridiculous chorus that's just unfairly catchy, that drags out for about 30 to 45 seconds. Really the same 4 chords, but honestly, who gives a shit? It's a poppy chorus, but it's so damn catchy. The one thing I have to say though is, for a song like this of this structure, which again, classic Scar Symmetry, this one started to feel a little bit long. It's about 6 minutes 40 seconds, and they probably could have cut it off about a minute and a half earlier. But it got some mixed reviews from Metal Sucks and so on and so forth. And personally, I actually like it because it's Scar Symmetry. Really, it's just, I don't know. I'm not kind of like how I felt about Amorphous before the last 2 releases. I haven't quite hit that point where I'm over and tired of what they're doing. I'm not there yet. So for that, I thank you. Good listen. Check it out. Released today. Worth it.
Nice. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for The Singularity Phase 1 Neo-Humanity right now. Number 1, there's a 10-minute song. The album is going to close with a 10-minute song called Technocalyptic Cybergeddon, which, hooray, made up words. This thing is 10 minutes long. That's like twice as long as any other Scar Symmetry track I've heard.
Right.
Which could either be really awesome or end really badly. I don't know.
This is so weird. I mean, obviously, when you get to like some of these more tech death bands, and I guess I'll categorize them that way. I don't know. It's tough to really put them in a. It's death metal. It's technical. It's poppier than most.
I just call them mellow death.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But you think of like, okay, so I'll put it with a band that uses, in the same, a band that uses, I guess a comparable level of technicality to some of the guitar work. You think of like Allegiant, and they had that 12-minute long song at the end of the album that just fucking worked perfectly. So I'm gonna keep a little bit of optimism here for a 10-minute long, Scar Symmetry track. But that said, nothing on the album's over 6 minutes besides Cryonic Harvest, like close to it. Well, Neohuman's 8 minutes, but 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Weird.
The takeaway here is that this is sounding like it's going to be an ambitious album and an ambitious project for Scar Symmetry. Hope it pays off.
I do too.
But I'm reading about the album information. The first phase of the trilogy, I'm quoting this verbatim from Wikipedia. First phase of the trilogy is centered around the rise of artilects, artificial intellects, with mental capacities far above the human level of thought. So a key theme we're seeing here is made up words. Artilects.
Oh man, and the emergence of transhumanists. Wow, who add artilect technology to their own bodies. This is going to be...
There's also neuromancers, which is like, I don't know if that's meant to play off necromancer or new romancers, but romancer, as far as I know, isn't a word either. So yeah, made up words.
This is going to be so fun. It's going to be
good going, Scar Symmetry.
Dude, it's going to be like listening to a sci-fi movie, and I guess I'm kind of okay with that.
This is either going to be the most intelligent dumb album ever or the dumbest intelligent album ever. I can't really tell.
For real though.
And yet I'm excited for it. I'm going to listen to this thing the first day it comes out.
Yeah,
so who am I to make fun? But at any rate, yeah, Scar Symmetry, new stuff. Check it out. It's online. That will wrap us up for headlines. Let's move in. We have a concert review. My first of what's going to be 2 concert reviews in 2 weeks. This hasn't happened in a while. But at any rate, concert review. I went to Saint Vitus on Monday night in Greenpoint to see the Reading Rainbow Tour. 2 up-and-coming bands from my hometown of Reading, Pennsylvania, Rivers of Nihil and Black Crown Initiate. Naturally, I was pumped because, not a lot comes out of Reading, Pennsylvania, and the stuff that does, Taylor Swift, tends to disown Pennsylvania. These guys did not disown Pennsylvania. They named a tour after Pennsylvania, and it was wonderful. So they opened with Huldra, a band from Bergen County, New Jersey. Personally wasn't nuts about them. Their music kind of seemed to go off in a few too many directions for its own good. I didn't really get a sense that it knew what they wanted to do stylistically.
Sure.
But they did have a good energy and presence on stage. The singer in particular, was nuts up there. So, I give them props for doing their thing. Next, we got into Black Crown Initiate, who played their entire 2013 EP, Song of the Crippled Bull, as well as a bunch of new songs from their upcoming album, The Wreckage of Stars, which is coming out on Tuesday. They played The Great Mistake, which I love, the lead single from that album, and it just sounded great. I mean, they musicianship obviously is top notch. James Dorton's vocals lose nothing live. He sounded incredible. He was just as ferocious as he sounds on record. Unfortunately, Andy, the guitar player, his clean vocals, there were a couple of sound issues with the venue. He didn't always come through loud and clear at the most opportune moments, but, the band made up for it. They gave a really energetic performance. Terrific set, really terrific set. I not to bash Rivers of Nihil or Huldra, but if I had to pick a favorite on the night, it was these guys.
Nice.
They were kick-ass. Rivers of Nile obviously closed the night. They played a good mix of stuff from the full length, Conscious Seed of Light, and some of their earlier stuff as well. I mentioned sound issues before. This is where the sound guy really started kind of shit in the bed a bit. Jake's mic, the vocalist, just seemed to cut out on him a couple times. It wasn't very well mixed. But the band didn't let that get them down. They brought a ton of energy, really, really fun set. So yeah, obviously great night for Reading, Pennsylvania. Great night for technical death metal. Shout out to Andy, Rick, and Jesse from Black Crown Initiate and Jake from Rivers of Nile. I went up to all four of these guys enthusiastically afterwards and kind of gushed about Reading, Pennsylvania. And they were all like, equally as enthusiastic when I told them I was from Reading. Really nice guys. Really just approachable. I hope the best for them. The music's kick ass. So good show, good times. Reading, PA represent. So
one of the few times Dan's proud of Pennsylvania.
I know that never happens. But anyway, so from concert reviews, let's move into some new releases. We've got 3 for you this week. Not anything you'll likely have heard of before, unless you dig deep, unless you're our buddy Hassan, who then naturally knows all these guys like the back of his own hand.
I got a beer with them last night. How the fuck? What the fuck?
Right. Kept it quiet this week on the new release front, but up first we have a new album from a band called Ashes. The album is called, I am not going to pronounce this right. It's spelled Hreow.
Crow.
I don't know how you pronounce that. Hreow. What the hell are you doing spelling an album like that? At any rate, it's the 4th full length from the Devon, UK based one-man black metal band. It's their first in 5 years. Now, in that time, since their last album, Runeworks, the guy behind the project, who calls himself Davidian, interestingly enough, just basically quit the band, handed it over to some other guy who called himself Abracon in 2010, and then just decided to come back a year later. And it's Davidian again.
One guy quit his own band. Fuck this, I'm out of here. What?
Yeah, I don't know how that worked, but this
fuck you guys,
made me laugh. Anyway, backstory aside, what'd you think of the music here?
Dude, this stuff is right in my wheelhouse. It really is. It was really
I was listening to this and I was like, this is gonna be right up Corey's alley.
Yeah, I freaking love the shit out of it. It's
very natural sounding.
Yeah, which I appreciate. And actually my favorite thing, it's different and it's a little out there and it took a little while to grow on me, at least a couple songs, but the way they utilize vocals, both in how much lyrical content there was and also how it was mixed, I just thought was brilliant. I don't know how you felt about it, but it almost felt like to me there weren't many lyrics, maybe like a third of the album had any kind of vocal content, if that, and it was also kind of like a background noise to the music. Which I thought was awesome because it allowed you to really kind of feel the music, and that just kind of like stepped in and added one little extra element to it, which worked so nicely. That was one of my favorite aspects of the whole thing. And aside from that, it's just crazy epic. It's kind of like what obviously I knew it wasn't coming, but it's a kind of sound that I could have really liked to have heard from, Celestite by Woods of the Wolves in the Throne Room. Obviously I knew what that was going to sound like ahead of time because I said no vocals.
Woods of the Throne Room.
Woods of the Throne Room. May as well have been.
Wolves of Ypres.
Wolves of Ypres. That actually makes more sense.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this thing. I thought there was some really pretty kind of ambient post rock kind of stuff going on at times. Sure. There were a lot of long instrumental passages, but credit to him, I guess, for really keeping them captivating. The clean tone, the guitar tone was really, really pristine.
Right.
Gave it a really nice, like, somber feel. I I absolutely love. Now, there's a 12-minute epic in the center of this thing called Heralding the Storm. And I absolutely love the hell out of this. It starts off with all these natural like forest noises. You hear like the flickering of a campfire, stuff like that. You really feel nature when you listen to it.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God, it was so awesome. But yeah, very, very much into this thing.
One of my
top to bottom.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, I was going to say, one of my favorite things is you talked about Heralding the Storm, the 12-minute epic there. And what just was so great about that song is, it builds and it does, a lot of things. It's drawn out in the right kind of way. Like the notes can breathe. It's a very, like you said, natural sound, organic sound. And then it goes right into Crafting Ruin, which is probably my favorite song in the whole album. And just like that 18, 19 minutes of time was just unbelievably epic for me. And that was, towards the end of the album. So I don't know. I like that thing top to bottom. It really did. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're recording this on a Wednesday. We've only really had access to this since Tuesday.
Right.
Because, Spotify new release timing and everything.
Right.
In the 36 hours, 40 hours maybe that we've had access to this, I've probably listened to it all the way through like 3 or 4 times.
Right. See, I listened to it once.
Really?
I've listened to it one time, and that was like an hour and a half ago.
Like I kept wanting to go into the other stuff that we were supposed to get into, and I just couldn't. I was like, I want to listen to that again. I'm sorry.
Well, as it turned out, it probably would have been more worth your time to do so.
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome. I got to find a way to pick this up somehow, some way. It's worth keeping around.
They'll have it on Bandcamp or something, I'm sure. But I know you like your physical copies.
Yes, I do, but that's probably not going to happen in this particular situation, which is fine. Kind of like with
you'll get a physical copy, but you'll get it on some unplayable format like 7-inch vinyl or something.
Right. Oh, thanks guys. Dick.
Yeah. At any rate, the band is Ashes. The album is some incomprehensible combination of the letters HREO and W. I'm gonna say hurrah again.
Good God.
I need to re-record that because I sounded like Howard Dean there.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say hurrah. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Ashes, hurrah. Check it out now.
Super aggressive.
Yeah.
Anywho,
next up, we are going to move into one from Basque. This is called American Hollow. It's group of stoner rockers from Asheville, North Carolina. And I gotta ask, do you think these guys like Baroness? Just a little bit.
Jesus
tad?
Christ. Dude,
maybe?
For like 3 minutes into the first song, I was like, okay, this is a bad version of Baroness. I don't care anymore. That's pretty much what it worked out to be.
See, I don't even think it's that bad. I just think it's like a carbon copy. Like this is, oh my gosh. Like they're really, really aping them here.
Yeah. So to be fair, I really do like Baroness quite a bit. And to me, this seemed like too much of an attempt to be Baroness. And for me, I just couldn't get into it for that reason. But I will say, like, for what it's worth, it sounded good, just too much Baroness fluffing, I guess.
Yeah. Even the artwork looks like something John Dyer Baisley would have done.
So does.
There were a couple things I liked that kind of set it apart. There at times you hear elements of their like kind of Americana, their southern side. The title track, I think in particular, has like these kind of crooning, drawling vocals, very southern, very balladeering. Land of the Sky, I really liked. It's 8-minute epic, brings in some more extreme metal elements later on. You got blast beats, you've got some death howls, stuff like that. I thought that was kind of cool. I did enjoy this thing, but yeah, I'm with you. I have to hold off on putting it too high on my list because it's just all kinds of derivative.
Yeah,
it
sure
really,
is.
really sounds like Baroness. So yeah, I mean, check it out. It's a decent listen. It's again, the band is called Basque. The album is American Hollow, and it is on your Spotify right now on the Path Less Traveled Records. I'm not
Clearly
making that up. That's an actual record label name. So
well,
yeah, check it out.
a little ironic, all things considered.
Right. And finally for this week, we have one that I don't really want to spend too much time talking about, but we have to mention, I suppose. It's a debut full-length album from London, UK band Amulet. It is, of course, called The First. It's a very vintage sound. It's very old school heavy metal. And I'm just going to pull a Mike Patton here and say, what year are we in? What is this? Like
Bad.
I'm just so tired of this whole like, let's play vintage sounding heavy metal, guys. That whole approach. Like how many of these have we run into this year? We saw the Dagger. Like I'm so over it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay if a band is 30 plus years old, but these guys were formed in 2010. Like,
Again,
try and do something new.
They're first. This is their debut full length. And
Yeah.
that just screams all kinds of ridiculous. Dude, I listened to
These guys are on Century Media too. Like,
what the fuck? I listened to honestly like 4 tracks listeners. Like, you know what? I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I just got bored.
Yeah, very quickly.
I'm sorry.
Very, very quickly.
I mean, I'm sure if this kind of thing is what you're looking for, fine.
Knock yourself out.
Have fun, but no, it wasn't for me.
Ugh, just awful.
Yeah. So yeah, let's cut that off. Band is Amulet. The album is The First. It's out on Century Media. If you're interested, have fun, I guess. I'm never going to revisit this thing as long as I live. So yeah.
Subtlety.
Now that we're done with our new releases, let us do our normal thing. Let's go into our old releases. Corey, what do you got for a retrospective this week?
Alrighty. So, for those that happen to catch the top 10 from this week, I went back to Lamb of God. Mostly for convenience. You know, it's not hard to pick 10 songs because there's really only about 10 or 11 songs I like by them anyway. So that just made my life easy. It's not fair. It's more like 15. So I went back to what I thought was a kickstart of their heyday, which is As the Palaces Burn, which came out back in 2003 on Prosthetic, for those that really, kind of actually give a shit. And I like pretty much everything about this album, to be honest with you. When you just go through some of the tracks here, I mean, it opens with Ruin, which is just an ass kicker. I mean, obviously, 11th Hour, For Your Malice. The song that really got me into these guys was The Devil in God's Country, which is kind of weird because it's not, one of their more well-known songs. And then you think of like how it closes with Vigil, which is just crazy haunting, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a quick hitter of an album, though. It's the 10 tracks, and it's under 40 minutes, but every minute well utilized. And I mean, look at what followed this band up. I mean, actually, before I get into that, I didn't realize that Devin Townsend played guitar on A Devil in God's Country until now.
I did not know that either.
That's kind of awesome. In a lot of ways.
Devin can do no wrong,
Seriously, he'd work. That's, again, not fair. I like this band to an extent. But no, and what I said, I'm just all kinds of all over the place right now. What I was saying was how I think it kickstarted, their best, span of time as a band. I mean that because this came out in 2003, and right after that, we're talking Ashes of the Wake, which is another killer album. And then, right up there with As Palaces Burn is my favorite album, we have Sacrament, which came out in 2006. So that's a really good trifecta right there. Palaces Burn, Wake, and Sacrament. Just awesome. Awesome. But this to me was kind of the start of that trend. So I had to give it a quick shout out. For what it was.
Well, it's worth noting. This album was what really, broke Lamb of God, pretty much. I mean, I don't mean broke as in like, damaged. I mean, broke as in made them big.
Right.
You mentioned Ashes of the Wake. I mean, they signed to Epic Records to put that thing out, largely on the strength of this album.
Right.
This thing did great business for him. I remember when I first heard Ruin, I mean, I was in 8th grade, 9th grade at the time. And I was still kind of a wuss. And so growly vocals kind of scared me a bit, but, Randy's just stood out because they were growling, but they were just so distinct.
Yeah, they are.
It wasn't like any other kind of growl I'd ever heard. I mean, whenever Randy's singing on a track, I mean, he's instantly identifiable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was just this thing has stuck with me as well. So really good listen.
Yeah, I mean, what Randy's done vocally is just incredible. I mean, like you said, the singing of his voice, but when you go back and what's still a live favorite is Black Label, and the vocal work on that is just it's shrieking. And then he throws this at us, and you realize it's the same damn person. It's pretty impressive, really. Mostly that he hasn't, torn his vocal cords out, but
yeah,
it's
true.
Good stuff. Old school Lamb of God. That's taking my look back for the week. No question about it.
Well, a very good choice. Very good choice in that regard. I went back and I revisited one of my favorite, this is going to be a cliche to say, one of my favorite Bruce Dickinson solo records, The Chemical Wedding. I say one of my favorite is a cliche because everyone really knows two. They know this one, The Chemical Wedding, and they know the one that immediately preceded it, Accident of Birth. Both albums have their defenders. I personally side with Chemical Wedding. I think it's just an incredible album. Thematically, it covers so much ground in just 10 songs. It's a little less than an hour. And it's just, it's amazing production. You've got really great solo tracks, Bruce solo tracks like The Tower I've always loved. Jerusalem, The Alchemist. I mean, it really is just from top to bottom. It's really just an incredible listen. And we've got some good guitar work from Adrian Smith, who obviously from Iron Maiden would later go on and rejoin the band with Bruce. It's just fantastic. They came out with an extended edition with some bonus tracks a few years ago that just kind of killed the vibe. But the original version, if you can snag a copy of the original version, 10 tracks and about an hour, we'll just call it an hour. Really, really just utterly captivating listen. So check it out. Bruce Dickinson, The Chemical Wedding, 1998 on Sanctuary Records. Produced by Roy Z. I'm just dropping random knowledge on you right now. So, yeah, check it out. Really, really good listen. The Chemical Wedding. But with that, let us wrap up our retrospective section for the week and move into Horns Up, Horns Down. Starting with you, Corey, what do you got for your Horns Up this week?
What's
making you happy?
That's kind of bouncing around for me. I haven't really landed on anything, but I gotta say, it's gotta be fall, man. We're in fall officially now. The first day of fall is September 23rd, and fall just means all kinds of good things for me. I mean, obviously, as you know, it's better weather. Obviously, your summers are a lot more humid and hot than they are up here. So that's wonderful, correct, I guess. But besides that, fall is just it's just better. It's more scenic, and the cliche of fall in New England is pretty damn fucking cool. But I've got a lot of stuff going on this fall besides shows and stuff. Like there's the New Hampshire Brew Fest, which is just a shit show. That's an all-day thing. Unlimited beer from 100 plus breweries and 500 different kinds of beer. That's in a few weeks. We're talking, hockey's back, which for me is a big deal. We're talking, I'm going to be doing some zip lining up in the White Mountains, which is pretty awesome. So all kinds of good stuff, and it's fall. I mean, it means unfortunately that winter's coming, but I feel like I just used a reference to a TV show.
You did.
God,
Game of Thrones.
Damn it! Shit! I told myself I wasn't going to. But anyway, it's the best, and the best thing about fall is it ends with Thanksgiving, which is pretty cool too. So sports, better weather, exciting things on weekends. Fall, no longer summer.
And more sports.
Exactly. Jesus. So yeah, I mean, first day of fall, September 23rd. Hooray! Let's do stuff.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Obviously a good choice. Mine is a little bit of a different gear. Something crossed my Facebook feed today that was just so utterly unexpected and so completely delightful that I couldn't not do this as my horns up. You've heard maybe of the NBC, the live Peter Pan TV movie they're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe I have, actually.
So they're taking one of the girls from Girls and dressing her up like a guy and having her play Peter Pan. And I didn't read anything into it because I don't watch Girls. I don't particularly like Allison Williams, I think is her name.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like Allison Williams, and I was just choosing to ignore this. That is until I saw a picture across my Facebook feed of none other than Christopher Walken playing Captain Hook in this thing. Now, we all love Christopher Walken.
Of course we do.
I mean, the dude makes any movie better, whether it's Catch Me If You Can, whether it's his role in that otherwise awful Bond movie, A View to a Kill, or you name it. I mean, the dude is just, he can improve anything. But seeing him in this Captain Hook costume, this is just some next level stuff. This is I was like, my life is complete now. I've seen Christopher Walken dressed as Captain Hook. Like, what? Like, what? I'm so happy about this. It sounds like I'm like kind of pissed or in disbelief, but no, I am so happy about this. I'm probably still not going to watch the movie, but I don't know that I need to. I think just like seeing him in this costume with this like bizarro expression on his face as Captain Hook, this like so totally Walken expression on his face playing Captain Hook, that's all I need. My life is now complete.
I can't even. I'm gonna have to go find that now. No, I wouldn't watch the whole movie either. I mean, I feel like I would watch the movie just to see that exact moment in time. So I watch a movie for it.
Yeah. Right. Well,
like,
also, like, we're 25. Do we really care about Peter Pan at this point?
No.
Come on.
No, of course not. But, you know.
But, dear Lord, was that moment, that, like, split second where I'm just sitting there, I was like, what? Like, as this thing
is unfurling for you, yeah.
It was just priceless. I lost the ability to words, you know.
Yeah. Who needs words?
But yeah, Christopher Walken playing Captain Hook is undoubtedly my horns up for the week. So with that said, horns down. What do you got this week? What's been pissing you off?
Well, I'm
grinding your gears.
Yeah, let's see. Well, a couple things I need to touch on. For one, I just need to bitch very briefly about this past weekend in sports. See, I still worked it in.
Of course you did.
Why wouldn't I? So Saturday, you know, everything pretty much goes to shit as far as the teams I like. Bayern drew Hamburg, which is just atrocious. For what it's worth, even though I don't follow them that much, Liverpool was completely embarrassed by West Ham.
That they were.
And then,
I have to say, this is pretty much a perfect weekend to be an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, with the Man City and the Chelsea draw and everything. And then, man, you're just getting completely butt-fucked, which I guess was a bright spot.
Yes.
But then
Spurs lost to West Brom.
Right, exactly. And then you roll into the NFL, and that's horrendous. I still managed to split in my fantasy leagues, which is great, so I'm 2-1 in both leagues. Blah. But the Niners still look terrible and have no discipline. But thank fuck for the Portland Timbers. Thank God for that team half care about, pulling out the big win. And it's
big 3-0 win.
Yeah, and
coupled with
Seattle
a 4-1 Seattle Sounders loss, which I was at. I watched Bradley Wright Phillips, son of Arsenal great Ian Wright, score a hat trick.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty cool.
I think, yeah. Dempsey scored the one lone goal for Seattle, I think. But either way, that was good. But overall, just not good. I actually don't think I'm going to watch the NFL this coming Sunday. I'm at a point where I'm just kind of annoyed by kind of all the bullshit with all the stuff going around. So I'm probably just going to go hiking.
They're all a bunch of crooks.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that the players.
Are.
I mean, some of the players are obviously criminals, but you know the guys up top, like the league brass, they're they're just crap human beings.
They really
They're
are.
like really just sad excuses for leaders.
Right. I mean, I'm just watching these news stories drag out about all these legal issues. I'm like, why is it such a fucking problem? Like, why is, I don't know. It's just too much, and it's just all being handled so poorly. I'm just kind of fed up. I'm going to go hiking or something and just fuck all that shit. The other thing I need to mention is a quick happy trails to Pabst Blue Ribbon from my life, because you've been bought out by a Russian company. Which is like... all these
never going to support those commies.
No, I don't. I mean, actually, I don't really care. Pabst is still going to be a beer I drink, because when I don't want to buy $20 12 packs and I would rather buy a $10 18 pack, I'll still choose Pabst over like Keystone. It's just the way it's going to work.
You should do a marketing campaign for them. When I don't want to buy a $20 12 pack and would rather buy a $10 18 pack, there's nothing like Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Drink it, you assholes. That might be a thing.
Oh boy.
But anywho, that was the thing that happened. I guess it's almost a horns up, because now all those idiots that only drink because it's American can finally shut the fuck up about it being American. Maybe it's a good thing.
Well, the people that do that are also probably the same kind of people that think Blue Moon is actually Belgian. You know, it's like, they are out there. Those kinds of people are out there, folks, and they are more numerous than you would think. Blue Moon is brewed by Coors. Don't get it twisted.
Everyone calm the fuck down.
They're
it's
in
a
Colorado.
Shitty beer. It really is.
Yeah.
It's not a good drink. You know when you twist that top off the bottle? That should be a clue. Just whatever. That's all I got for my end of episode rant. So I assume your horns down is probably a little bit more justified. I'll put it that way.
I don't even want to call it a horns down. We'll call it a horns misguided.
Fair enough.
So this past weekend in New York City, but also all around the world, there was a massive climate march to draw attention to both Wall Street and politicians and people who are having an adverse impact on climate change, and try and alert them to both the errors of their ways, but also the very serious nature of climate change and how real a problem it is, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think in principle, I think it's a very noble pursuit.
Sure.
A lot of people went out for it. We had numbers in the several thousands in New York City alone, but
sure.
I can't help but look at this and think, like, do you guys really think this is going to do anything? Like, especially in our country, like, nobody is going to do, politicians are not going to do a goddamn thing about our climate, about our carbon footprint, until they decide that there's something in it for them, until they decide that there might be money in climate change reversal, or,
right,
until there's like big anti-climate change, the way there's big oil and big coal and stuff like that. They don't give a shit.
No,
they're in the lobby's pockets. I mean,
No,
I don't want to sound. I know this sounds incredibly cynical, and I don't mean to criticize people for pursuing something that they have a passion about. And if people have a passion about trying to put a stop to climate change, then they're all right in my book.
Absolutely.
But it's like, it's sad, but it's more, I mean, more, my horns down is more on the state of society, on the state of the powers that be, in that this is not going to do anything.
And, obviously, this is a topic of discussion that I could have for hours on end. I am 100% right there with you. I think these people that participate in the walk, that show that they support the environment, at least visually to others, fine, cool. That's great. That's great. But don't friggin' get in your car and drive 2 miles to go to work and back every day. Take a walk or take the fucking bike or something. It's just like, I mean, that's all well and good, so at least people can see that there are people that care. But there's a big problem in this country where people participate in these walks for things, and then in their day-to-day life, they just continue to just add to the problem. It's just the way things work sometimes. It's just perception, and it's frustrating beyond all hell. Obviously, without actually doing something actively different every day of your life, you will absolutely do zero to your carbon footprint.
Right.
It's just the way it is. There's too many people, and at this point, I mean, and this is going to sound extremely cynical, and that's fine. There is nothing we can do or change about the way we live our lives to change what's happening to the climate at this point. It can't be done. It just can't. It's too much. There's too many people, and the population is growing too fast.
They've said that even if all the industry across the world, all the gas guzzling, coal burning industry, electric using industry suddenly stopped simultaneously, it still wouldn't. It would take centuries to reverse the impact we've had.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really work that way. I mean, the problem is like the climates, and this was a field of study of mine for 4 years at Syracuse. The climate is a cyclical thing, and these cycles are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands years long. We've done 100,000 years of basically damage in about 50 years.
Yep. And
the thing is, because it's a cycle, there are tipping points, and once you hit a tipping point, think of it as, I don't know, you could say it's like a roller coaster. It crests that hill, and once it starts going down, it's just going to keep going down. It's not going to stop in process. It's not going to stop somewhere on that plane. It doesn't happen. And that's kind of what we're looking at. And so it's just the way it is. Like, all we can do really at this point is stop walking. I mean, I love the fact that people are getting out and showing us support and all that stuff, but stop walking. The common man, I hate saying that because it sounds really cynical, but I'm in that boat as well, obviously. Like, your everyday American, your middle class worker, you do what you can, use reusable grocery bags, don't drive 5 miles to work or whatever, when you have other options, especially in urban areas. And then basically what it comes down to is we just need to invest our time, money, and energy into resources. Don't stop doing things. Start doing things proactively to better things, better technology, that kind of stuff. Because what we've done. It's not going to change anything. The damage isn't going to be undone during anybody's lifetime living now, or probably the next 2 generations down either. So you may as well just invest some effort into finding a way to allow us to do what we do, but more efficiently. It's the only way we can actually make long-term, improvements.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, as much as I respect people for joining hands and taking up, the common cause of, reducing our carbon footprint and preventing climate change, I just have to think that there were more constructive ways to do so and to act on that interest.
Yeah, have a fucking bake sale and donate the money to these green technology companies. Christ almighty.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah, that is my horns. Again, horns misguided, we'll call it. Not as straight up horns down. But so that will about wrap us up for the week. Reminder, as always, check out the Horns Up blog, hornsupmetalshow.com, for more content. We're going to have a new top 10, a new Sunday side splitter, all of our regular weekly content. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, Twitter @hornsuppodcast. Subscribe on iTunes if you're not doing so already. Follow us on Stitcher, on Podbean, but only Podbean for a couple more weeks because, as I mentioned before, we are switching our RSS feed, our hosting site. It's going to be around for a few more weeks, but after that, we are going to be migrating to a different feed. We'll still be posting, we'll still be on iTunes, but going to need to update your subscription settings after a certain point. So more on that as it comes. We'll be updating you on Twitter, on the website, you name it. But this was episode 22. Corey, any final thoughts or anything I forgot about?
I got nothing.
Cool.
That's a wrap.
Well, in that case, I will say thank you all for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to have you. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
Have a good weekend.